From first ever messages to hitting huge relationship milestones like going into business together and prenups, everything started on a dating platform. I love these kind of lesbian love stories. Welcome back to Queer Women Rising. I'm your host, SophiaSpallino. I talk about dodging the dating drama and interview lesbians who have exactly what we're all looking for. Lesbian love, the real love, the good stuff. And today's guests are going to go deep into a story that tells the nitty-gritty details of like the unhealthy parts of their dating relationship down to their beautiful engagement and now prenups and building businesses together. Because if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming like the women in my lesbian dating platform, the Queer Country Club, you're not like super young lesbian. We typically see women 30 and up inside, even up until ages 70. And at that point in life, you've built a life for yourself and you're looking for not just someone that you find attractive, but who aligns with your values and what you want out of life. And you've probably already built a great life for yourself. So prenups may be a part of the conversation. This episode is for you. Before I get into telling you about my guest, just a little update. I'm so grateful. I just came back a few days ago from my very first ever Queer Country Club retreat where I hung out with a handful of incredible, extraordinary lesbians who came in with open hearts, whether that was to find love or experience personal development on another level. Every retreat looks different, but we get massages, facials, and have time for spiritual guidance. I got to have individual sessions with each person who came. We did all kinds of light activities. We had gourmet food. It was a tipless environment. We were just basking in the easy luxury of Canyon Ranch. If this is something that you're interested in, please DM me on Instagram and say the word retreat. If we don't have any openings, I will put you on the wait list. The wait list is getting pretty long, so make sure you're on it so you'd be the first to get notified. We will go in order of who was on it first to release the next one. I'm coming back on cloud 9. The women who came to this first retreat were so beautiful inside and out, and we got so vulnerable together, incredibly vulnerable. It was deep. Conversations were revealing and hard when it came to the things that hurt us. But what we realized throughout all of it is we're pretty much all the same, even though we may look different, have slightly different lives. We've gone through a lot of the same experiences, and being able to look at your sisters in the eye and connect deeply. And maybe that turns into romantic connection, maybe it doesn't, but to connect deeply, to see someone and be seen, to look at them and tell them the things that you love about them, to tell them about their dreams and how you can mirror them back to them, to hold them in their greatest sorrow when we're witnessing each other's pain. And we can point to a future that is beautiful, a future that we're all working towards. That is what it's like to be at the right table. If you're struggling to find lesbians you align with, lesbians you'd actually want to date, you would love to be inside one of these retreats. It is an epic experience. My heart is full, and so is my tummy. That was delicious. Anyway, enough about the Queer Country Club retreats. I'm obsessed with them. My heart sings. I actually get to hang out with you guys. I'm just this girl on the internet, and it's cool to actually exist with you and hang out with you and get to know you and watch you get to know each other. So thank you, ladies, you know who you are, for giving me that beautiful first experience. And I'm so excited for our next retreat. Okay, today's guest, they go deep with me and they don't even hesitate when I ask them hard questions. I'm gonna read you their bio, okay? Some love stories feel like destiny. And today's guests are proof that sometimes the universe gives you exactly what you need, whether you're ready or not. We all know about that. Stacey and Alice met on a dating app only to realize they had been walking the same university halls all along. Their shared love for fitness, food, and travel has only deepened over their 8, almost 9-year relationship. No, I'm not kidding. That can actually happen for us. Women can fall in love and build healthy relationships, lasting relationships. And I was really excited to get into their head and see what makes them tick, and what's made this relationship last for 9 years. They are passionate about healthcare, patient advocacy. They have a great purpose. They're building business together. But we need to know, what does it actually take to stand the test of time, and what have they learned along the way? Welcome to the show, Stacey and Alice. Let's get into it. I'm so glad you're here. I put the L in the LGBTQ, so I always start by asking my guests, what letter of the alphabet soup are you? Who wants to go first?
I'm a lesbian, obviously.
I'm Stacey, and I'm capital letter L for lesbian as well.
I love it. I love it. How long did you know you were, okay, I am exclusively a lesbian before you met each other?
Ooh, before we met each other, I feel like it took me, I feel like looking back, I'm like, okay, I was definitely flaming lesbian since basically birth, but I probably didn't realize it till maybe high school. So maybe like
Yeah.
14, 15. And then I met her when I was like 24, 25.
Have been a while.
So it had been a bit.
I love that. I kind of get jealous when I hear people say they figured it out in high school. The decade later for me. What about you?
Jumbled mess though. So it was
Uh,
not rainbows and butterflies, but I mean, looking back, I'm like, well, at least I have that. And you're right. I mean, experience helps a bunch. So definitely proud.
yeah. I think no matter what, because of what we're taught in society, it's always going to be a little challenging. So even if it looks easier to me, the internal struggles are always there, especially depending on where you were brought up. Where are you guys from?
Well, I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and super traditional Hispanic family. Grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school literally my whole life up until the end of high school, and probably would have sent me to a college that was private as well. But I had a little bit more autonomy, so I was just like, no. I mean, I stayed local, but it's very traditional in my family. So
Yeah.
definitely lots of hard conversations.
How did how did those go? Like, are they accepting? Are they celebrating? Or are they not acknowledging?
So I feel for like the most part, my immediate family, they've gotten to a place where they're accepting and they're really welcoming now. So, I mean, I don't want to skip
Mm.
too much ahead, but we had been away. Well, we met not here in Florida. We kind of just moved back to Florida to be closer to family and start being a lot more involved in things like,
Mm.
so it's super nice. Like my nieces call her aunt or tia. So it's a place that when I was younger, I was like, there's no way that's ever gonna happen. And now that I'm living it, sometimes like I do have to pinch myself and remind myself like everything really is like a journey, and we just have to kind of, you'll get there. Maybe not in your timeline, but you'll get there. It's definitely where
Mm.
there's still lots of work to be done, I guess you can say, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of, I guess, internal struggles. And I mean, she's seeing it more now that we're closer to my family here, where I'm constantly like, oh, like good daughter or like good significant other. Like there's lots of still like fuzziness sometimes where it's
Mm.
like, do I really want to push the boundary today?
I love that. I love that you're being honest about it. Do you guys want to share one of those really intimate relationship moments? Because I can think there's a woman that I had been going out with. She's been out of the closet for 30 years. Yet when we went to Disney World together, she was like, there's kids around. We like shouldn't hold hands. And I was like, what? I go out and then it was like, oh, there, like I got her to hold hands. She'd be like, there's kids around. I shouldn't kiss you. I'm like, we're not making out. Like anyone else can give their person a kiss. So it was really interesting because I have not witnessed this homophobia in so long in someone who is so established, so sure, never question their sexuality once they come out. Everyone knows they're out, but yet there's the internalized homophobia that comes out as we interact with family, as we interact with kids, because not because of anything within us, but because we're afraid, like we're overcompensating for people's projections. And I know this because I have a little niece and nephew, and I went through shit as a kid, and I'm like, if anyone touches them, I will, it will be a murder. I will be in jail. Um, so because of all the internalized homophobia and people being like, gay people are bad, the moment we get around our families, it's like we're on high alert so we could be just accepted by our families. I hope this is making sense to you guys and other people listening. And it feels weird to say, but it's true. And I find myself like being extra just a high alert for no reason other than I never want to be accused of doing something like inappropriate in front of a kid, like kissing my partner.
Yes, definitely. I feel like I can relate to that a lot. I did grow up in a small-ish city. I don't want to call it a small town, but I also grew up in the outskirts of that small city. But to me, I came out in middle school as pansexual at first, and it was so innocent to me. Like my friends accepted it, like it was not an issue. We didn't even know much, but I was like, no, like I don't see gender, like I'm like I just love people. Eventually, as the years, I guess, like progressed, I started realizing that like homophobia in society. I was lucky that my parents, I was around trans people since I was really small. And, like it wasn't like my immediate blood related family, but they were like my family, like I
Yeah.
knew them as my aunts and my uncles, and it was nothing weird to me. As I grew old, that's when I started realizing it. And I feel like I was like a turtle and I came into my shell and I was like, no, 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 this is like weird. I should be straight. And I dated men for a little bit. I mean, I guess boys because I was like in high school. And
Yeah.
as soon as I came out of high school and I went to college, I started learning more just like from like classes, which sounds like really crazy.
No, same.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, I was like, I knew this all along. Since I was a child, I just didn't have the words to explain it. And so to me, it has been like what you're saying is like totally relatable. I have that like hyper vigilance sometimes of being too much, right? Of being too close. And I'm like, wait, but why? Like nobody has told us anything, nobody has said anything, but we grow up thinking since society thinks that way, well, then everybody around me should probably has that like ugly misconception of us. So,
Yeah, and I mean, lots of people that you grew up with, your family hangs out with, like they probably share some sort of same views on some things. So you would assume, I mean, when you're small, you're like, everybody just thinks this way, And I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I went to Catholic school, so I had to memorize like all these things that were like everything going against basically who I am today. So it definitely was a process, and I feel like still a journey that I'm not sure there's an end to it, because certain situations come up and I'm like, ooh, okay, how am I going to handle this? But I feel like
Yeah.
it's definitely one of the things that I do love about Alice, where she does help me kind of like come to terms with it in a more gentle and patient way.
Yeah.
Versus just like in my head, sometimes it's very like black or white. I'm like, no, I have to pick right now. And like, if that means that is very drastic stuff. And she's like, hey, it doesn't, just because you chose yes today to maybe set a boundary with a family member today, it doesn't have to be a yes again. Like you
Mm.
also have to pick certain times that, we feel strong or sometimes ready enough and maybe, or vulnerable enough to be like, okay, today I can maybe lean into that a bit more, maybe tomorrow I
Mhm. I get that. I get that a lot. And one thing that's really been interesting is just when you think things are great with your family, there can be something that is just so offensive that like it shakes everything, and everything you work towards, all the progress you've made, all the closeness you've made is just shattered because you're like, oh, you think that? Like, especially with what we're going through with politics and stuff, it's like, how? I'm literally at a loss, and it's earth shattering to me that people can be ugly to each other in these ways, especially when I am not. There'll be things that are said that are just disgusting, and standing up for yourself in a very peaceful way shouldn't evoke radicalized anger, but it does. And that is shocking to me and something that I've been experiencing again. And Hey, it's just God teaching me forgiveness again and again, I suppose. But I'm like, wait, we had made so much progress, and where are we? Like, what is this? So anyway, y'all are looking at me like you've experienced this too. So
Yeah, yeah. And like I mentioned, since we just moved to Florida, I mean, less than a year ago. We were living in Texas. It was just her and I. I mean, her family's closer to Texas, but it was our little bubble for like almost 10 years, you know?
yeah,
So that was super nice. I mean, we took it for granted because now we moved here and we're like, oh my goodness, like now we're like fish out of water. We're like, wait a minute, we really like she said, we have to like come into our shell sometimes and be like, okay, wait a minute, like I guess we don't feel maybe as confident or as secure in certain situations here like we did, up in a place that we called home. And
yeah,
we don't have that yet, even though my family's here, I have friends here. But like you said, certain situations have come up now where you're like politics and family, you're like, this it's never good, right?
it's never good.
Yeah. And it's easy to take things personal and
Yeah,
hard to be like, I'm just gonna let you have that, like whatever you feel is you, and that's not me. But sometimes it does feel like it's like fingers pointed and you're just like, I was just trying to start a conversation here. Like, let's calm
yes,
down, and sometimes
yeah.
you're not ready to have these like heated fights or arguments or conversations. You're just like, it doesn't have to be this serious. And if it is, then let me know and we won't have that conversation anymore because I don't want to have it. And if you do, then we
Yeah.
find someone else.
100%. Like I've set strong boundaries with family, being like certain things I don't want in the group chat. Like, do not put it there. The group chat's for lifting each other up, for being a fan club of each other. And the response I got to that was just shocking. And I'm like, no, this is like a group chat I started because I travel the most. This is a fan club for us to share of each other's accomplishments, like our own little feed essentially. And it's not for politics. And like, you do you, I do me. I would never put that in here. So yeah, it wasn't responded to well. And I've just learned you've got to just set the boundary, and people won't always like it. And it is what it is. So yeah, living in the South, you guys know let's talk about your love story that's like happy. And I know that there's been challenges, but I'm curious because you've done something that I aspire to have, which is have a long relationship. You guys have been together for what, over 8 years?
Yeah, this year's going to be 9.
Right.
So in a few months,
Oh
it'll be
my
9 years.
gosh. Like that is, first of all, so rare and beautiful, but in lesbian world, really challenging because I was going through statistics the other day. There's 2.4 women in America who identify as a lesbian. So like there's a lot of queer women, but like women who are really ready to settle. Actually, it might have been 1.4. I need to look back at that content and see what's right. But either way, a really small number who know like I want to live and die with a woman. And out of that, you've got different types, you have different values. So you really narrowed it down. Yeah. So when you find a love like Stacey and Alice, you hold on to it. Tell us your love story. How did it all begin?
So it all began online. We met online and we
Yeah.
started chatting, but it wasn't really flirtatious. And that was my fault because I was very awkward, I think,
Oh,
you could say. And she kept flirting with me, but I wouldn't get the hint. Like, I would just say the most randomest things to you. And she really wanted to meet me. And I was really nervous because to me, I was like, she's like so out of my league. Like, I was like, like, I can't believe this girl exists. And so I kept avoiding meeting you for like a
It
really
was
long
like I
time.
felt like at least 2 months, and after I got to a point where I was just like, okay, like what's happening here? Like, let's define this. What are we doing? Like, you want to be friends? That's fine, but like I'm over here spitting game per se. Like, let me not waste that. But to kind of paint her in a better picture, I think right before she got on this dating site, she had just switched over, I guess, the setting to women. So she was also still like dipping her little feet in. And here comes me. I'm like, all right, let's go. And she's like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, and I had dated girls, but this was like back in high school and nothing really happened. It was just like, hey, you want to be my girlfriend? And I was like, yeah, sure, like thanks for asking. And so we ended up meeting at a mall.
Yeah, she told me she was working one day and she had already told me where she worked. So I was like, I'm just gonna show up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bombard her. Sounds toxic, but I was like, okay, I need to know what's happening here. But to my defense, I will say that I was volunteering for a group and they were gonna be at the same exact place.
Yes.
So I was like, I just have to, like, literally she was upstairs and I was downstairs. So
Yes.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
yeah. So I was like, okay, I have to do this.
Yes.
So I finally like messaged her. I'm like, hey, I'm literally gonna walk up to wherever you're at. And she was there. Her mom was there.
Yeah, she met my mom. When I met her, she met my mom. One
Wow.
of my mom's friends that I called uncle and aunt, and someone like it was like a bunch of people like that were close to us that she met that day. And I worked at like a hair product place, so I was like talking to her about her hair. She had the most gorgeous hair I've ever seen. And we ended up
She finally started
it was
flirting.
like
I will say then she started flirting more. It was more like I was like, is she a really good like salesperson here? Because I'm like, okay, I'll buy it, But I felt more of the connection there, so I was like, okay, this can definitely move on. And then afterwards, I asked her if she wanted to go on a second date, and she agreed. So we met up, I think, a few days later, and
yeah. And the rest is history.
We're still here.
So your first date, you sold her products.
Well, she didn't buy
I didn't
anything.
buy it, but it was literally in my head initially. I was like, wow, like I don't know if I'm like the one here or just what's going on here. She's selling me a product or like, is she the product?
Oh, it's so sweet. Okay, so when your mom saw you guys meet each other, did your mom know the dynamic and was she okay with you meeting up with the girl in a romantic way?
No, she didn't know, but I think at that point I felt like I was old enough to be like, you know what? Do I have to explain myself? Like,
Yeah, no.
people should have never assumed that I was straight. I never said it. So at that point, I was like, whatever. I didn't rip the Band-Aid to my mom until way later. But at that moment, like, I was like, whatever, like, I'm just gonna, if this girl would have kissed me right at the kiosk that I was at, I think I would have kissed you back.
Oh.
But no, like, I would have been like, whatever. But yeah.
That is beautiful. So you realize how close in proximity you are. You start dating, and typical lesbian fashion, you're Velcro together for life.
Basically, yeah. A few important details there. Like I was graduating from my master's, so I had a job, but it wasn't paying too well. It was kind of enough just to make ends meet while I was over there. So I needed a place to live for a bit after I graduated, found a place, whatever. And at this point, she thought after she graduated college that she wanted to go to medical school, but in Mexico. So time goes by. We're like, whatever, we're dating, having fun, blah, blah, blah. And finally, she's like, I'm still going to go to Mexico.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we had lots of discussions. As best we could at that time, right? We have no idea what to expect. And we did break up for a little bit. It didn't last long, like typical lesbian fashion anyway.
I did leave
and
Mexico.
She did leave to Mexico.
And
Wow.
it did like a few months, right? Not the breakup, because we did break up. I left to Mexico and then we got back together, even though I was in Mexico. And for one reason or another, the school wasn't for me. But I feel like when I left, not that I was like, are you gonna ask me to like stay? But I was kind of like dangling it, like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm gonna leave. Like, are you ready? Like, are you okay that I'm like leaving? And she was like, of course, I support you and your dreams. And I was like, you're not gonna even miss me?
Tucked away my feelings because I was like, it's not my place to. I didn't want her to stay, like for me. I was like, you need to do like whatever you feel you need to do, and whatever happens. Like I still want to be with you, but we'll take it day by day.
Yeah.
And obviously she didn't like to hear that, but as much as I told her afterwards, I was like, as much as I wanted to be like, no, don't go, like just stay, we'll figure it out, or maybe I'll figure out a way to go over there. But I I didn't say anything. So
I would have been just like her. Just I would have been like waiting for you to say I'm gonna find a way to get there. All these things, and I would have probably done the breakup, but no, we would actually get back together just to like make you realize, like, come on, chase me. But I'm all about like that princess dynamic, which is probably not even super healthy, to be honest. So, yeah, that. So, how long did it take until you get back together? Like 2 days or 3 days?
No, I feel like it took a while, like a month maybe.
yeah, but I mean, like we tried the typical like no contact, and then like
That lasted for like a day.
yeah,
Yeah, no, we were like in our toxic state back then for sure, which is also probably why it wasn't like a conversation of, hey, should I stay? Because we knew that the next conversation would be, if I stay, then what? Like,
yeah,
Mm.
then what? And we didn't have a what.
yeah. We really were just like enjoying each other's company and like living for the moment. It wasn't really, and even if we individually thought about like maybe a future, it was so like it really
In
was
the
just like
distance.
living in the moment, enjoying each other, like until basically, I mean, she goes away, like she said, a few months later,
Yeah.
she comes back because literally one bad thing after
2017.
another bad thing after another bad thing was happening in Mexico. Um, so she comes back, she stays with her mom a little, we're dating, and then finally I was like, I mean, I'm staying here solo. You're going to your mom's.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
let's discuss this, like what's gonna happen, and like if we want to move forward, like let's just move in. So it was also
Mm.
a pretty quick transition too. Like I I don't like to move fast per se because I usually, I mean, prior to her, I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But I was like, that's obviously not working. So I did want to
Yeah.
take my time with certain things, but it really was like the perfect opportunity, I guess you can say, to just be like, what are we doing here? If anything, we're spending more money, like going back and
Yeah.
forth, doing all these things, and when we could just be cohabitating already, like, and I
How
feel like
long?
I'm sorry.
Oh, like how long was that into your relationship where you end up moving in?
So we started dating in 2016, like mid 2016, and then I left to Mexico like what, like 2 months after?
Maybe like 3, 4 months
Yeah.
after, and then
And then I came back in January of 2017. And
yeah,
we
Okay.
immediately started living together right off the bat. So like when she says the transition was
yeah,
crazy, like it really was because I had never lived with anybody except for like my mom, who's my best friend.
Mm.
And it's like telling her that I was like leaving was so daunting to me, but luckily my it's gonna sound weird, but my mom moved out first. And so, yeah, so then she was like, hey, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, no, mom, don't worry. I got it. And so I was like, hey, like, let's move in together. Let's find a place. We didn't have a job.
yeah.
We didn't have anything. We didn't have a
Wow.
plan. Like,
We
we,
didn't. It sounds bad, but I mean, we joke about it now, but we like because some of these places, I'm sure a lot of these places now, they require you to make like 3 times the rent, and you're like, I barely make 1 time the rent. Like
yeah, I was in college
who can
and you had
afford
just
this?
graduated.
Yeah, so we had to sign some other papers, basically like we're a liability to them, but we ended up like just getting, well, like I said, I had gotten a place and then she just moved in, so obviously it helped out, but I feel like that was also a pretty pivotal moment for us looking back, where we finally were at the point where we're like, okay, bills are coming, things are coming, like we can't just hang out and like be glued together all day. As much as we want to,
Yeah.
we don't get paid for that. So, we started taking things like super serious. I passed my boards exam because I'm an occupational therapist. So I passed my board exam, started
Woohoo.
working immediately, like 2, 3 jobs. She was finishing school, so she actually had to ask the dean to sign a paper that said, I'm a voluntarily taking more classes than you guys recommend, because we were like, we need to fast
I
forward
needed to
lots of
finish
things.
that degree quick.
Yeah. So she finished it in a few months.
But during that, I had like what, like two different jobs and like the crappiest jobs you could, I don't even know if I could curse here, but like the most like absurd jobs, like I was
Yeah.
really bad at them too. Like I tried being a server, I tried being a bartender. I was really bad, but I was like, hey, I need to make ends meet. Like, even if I'm making like way below like minimum right now, like I just need a job that can accommodate me and my student hours.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We made it.
I get
Yeah.
it. That's beautiful. And also so rare that it would work out without knowing each other well enough to, it would be very easy for one person to go, I'm stepping up. I realize what needs to be done. And for the other one to just not be on that same wavelength in life. But it sounds like you guys both stepped up, rose to the occasion, and were like, look, I want to do life with you. And we're going to make it work. And now y'all are both successful, which is amazing. And it comes from hard work and honestly just doing even the things you don't want to do to get there. Totally get that. One thing you said that really just made me take a pause and I want to know more is you said we were in our toxic phase. So apparently, okay, real quick, I need to tell you about Wisp, an online healthcare service that is for the girls, gays, theys, and me. In fact, for 3 years, they have been a part of my daily regimen. I know many of you listening long to create beautiful, women loving women relationships. And that, my dears, begins with excellent kitty care. Like, no offense, I don't know about you, but I personally don't want to be at a kitty cat cafe, if you know what I mean, that doesn't provide the freshest dessert for me to lick. So do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and keep your kitty cat cafe fresh. With Wisp, everything from the consult to receiving meds is done from the comfort of your phone, and the company is proud of being inclusive, cost-effective, and accessible for everyone. Wisp believes that you know your body better than anyone else, which means no more urgent care visits for issues such as UTIs, yeast infections, or STI treatment. You can save so much time not going to in-person appointments or waiting in line at pharmacies. The free shipping will save you so much time. Or same-day pharmacy pickup can have you feeling better faster. Before Wisp, I was prone to getting BV, but my kitty pH balance stays perfect. Chef's kiss now that I am on a consistent probiotic regimen. Ladies, this is so important. Personally, I subscribe monthly to Wisp probiotics, Sexy Time Lube, and OMG cream. It's like female Viagra. I also get D-mannose and boric acid vaginal suppositories as needed, so I'm prepared if something starts to fill off down there. Also, if you're about to meet a new partner from my lesbian dating platform, you definitely want to be tested before sleeping with someone new. You can order discreet online testing from your bed before you jump into bed. Go to the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to hellowisp.com and use my code Sophia for 15% off. That's code Sophia, Sophia, for 15% off all your kitty needs. You're welcome. Okay, back to the show. Apparently, you can have a healthy relationship, long-lasting relationship, even if you go through toxicity. If you're listening to this and you're going through a toxic relationship, I'm not giving you permission for someone to treat you bad or for you to treat someone else bad, but maybe you love someone like Stacey and Alice did, and there's a way to make it work. So can you tell me what toxicity looked like? Was it screaming at each other? Was it manipulation? Like, what was it? And then how did you guys get out of that cycle? Because to me, that's pretty rough to get out of once you disrespect someone.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
good question. You want to start?
I feel like our toxicity really was because we didn't take each other seriously. So we kept prioritizing a bunch of things over each other. Like for me, it was
Ooh.
my schooling, and for you, it was your career. So that created a lot of like, I want to say like resentment, but like miscommunication. And so we would get into like arguments a lot because of that. And every single time we got into arguments, it would be really easy to break up. So like
Yeah.
that was the toxicity of like not being able to have an argument and being like, hey, arguments are normal in relationship. It doesn't mean that we're not supposed to be together. I mean, healthy arguments, right? Like
Right.
even if they escalate to maybe like, I don't know, like saying like mean things, but like still that argumentative phase, we couldn't get out of it. And so it was like a snowball. So like now we were arguing for the one thing, but we were also arguing because we argued yesterday And you know what I mean? Like that snowball effect, like, and last week and last month and this, and you did this. So it took us a while to get out of that, like, and I think it took like forgiveness and like flexibility to also understand the other person, because sometimes you say things that you don't want to, like, you don't mean to be hurtful, but you don't know how the other person is taking it. And sometimes we also
Yeah.
take things personally. Like she said A and I took it as ABC because of my own like insecurities, like because of my own
Yeah.
problems. And so now I'm like, you
Mhm.
just called me dumb. And she never even said the word dumb. And so sometimes that took, at least for me, a lot of growth into being like, did Stacey say this? Or did Alice interpret this and now is blaming Stacey?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like, I mean, and what that looked like, at times like screaming or yelling. As I feel like we are pretty passionate people, so we also got to that level sometimes in our argument. And I mean, we started dating in our early 20s basically, so
Mhm.
plus alcohol, plus
Oh,
like
yeah.
party environment, like it's easy to get caught up on the wrong things. And I mean, you kind of see it everywhere, like no matter where you're going out, like there's lots of selfishness, I guess you can say in a way. And I mean, I know I definitely was super selfish. Like I said, we basically didn't communicate a lot about the future because, like she said, we didn't really take each other serious for a bit. It took us a while to kind of get to the point where it's like, huh, okay, we're still here. Like
Yeah.
something is obviously keeping us here, even though, at times we were like crying or being like, oh my God, I hate you so much. And I mean, like what she said about sometimes just the way we would argue, I tried to not to say like any hurtful names or things like that. Something as even small as like stupid, but sometimes the way sometimes my head would go around it is you're being stupid right now. And she'd be like, you just called me stupid. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
didn't call you stupid. Like, and then we just argue about that. Like silly, very small things where
Right.
we didn't know how to have that communication. I mean, and like you said, it took us a lot to kind of get to a point where we were able to let our guards down and we did start that process of basically like personal and self growth. Like
Mm.
I remember I told you initially in the beginning where I was like we had our own bubble. Like once we realized like we're building this bubble and we're putting layer upon layer upon layer over this bubble, we were like, okay, now, I mean, that's when we started like audiobooks together. That's when we started going to the gym together. And each of those things, even though initially we didn't do them to get a connection,
Mhm.
they obviously brought us together because we were doing something together and we would either discuss it or at the gym we'd be like, oh man, my arms are so sore, I can't even like lift it, and we'd both be able to laugh about it because again, it's something we're both experiencing at the same time. She's right there with me when I'm running. Like it again, it I didn't think it through when we started these things, but now those are some of my favorite moments when we do go out on a run
Mm.
together because it's literally intentional time together. We are literally
I
not
agree.
doing anything. You're right here, I'm right here. Like that's it. This is
To
time for
me,
that.
that's
It's helped
the
out a bunch.
greatest. Yeah, it's the greatest luxury of life to do those downtime activities together. And I think some people probably start like, oh, we're going to listen to this podcast together to try to be better or whatever. But it sounds like you guys organically, every step of the way, just were making the right decisions without even truly thinking about it hard. And that just speaks to true alignment of like just following your desire, which was naturally for each other and what you wanted for life, because you weren't like trying to make each other into something. That's pretty cool to hear.
You put that. I think it's very simple the way you put it, but yeah, I mean, the selfishness, like we were growing individually, and eventually we would get to a point where like we'd either hit a wall or something. Like I mean, I think both of us now probably consider ourselves lifelong learners in the sense that, we try to just dive into whatever we can and keep learning about something, whether it's, content creating or running or lately it's been well, yeah, I guess you could say lately we just started, but a lot more like personal growth in regards to like communication. So one of the things that kind of helped us out to kind of like start growing in different aspects was we basically just started talking about it. Like we were like,
Mm.
let's start writing down our goals. And then we again, we this was new to us, we didn't follow someone. Nobody in our family was doing this. Like we probably heard it on audiobook and we were like, let's start implementing some of these things. And obviously it's hard when you implement anything to be consistent. But we started seeing the returns on it. Whether it was, let's be intentional about our travel. What do we want to do? Okay. We would plan a travel trip and we literally would do everything on the trip. And we were like, that was the best vacation ever. Because we literally knew what we wanted to do. We went to it, like it worked. We did everything we wanted to do. And we just copy the formula and apply it to a new area.
I love that.
Yeah.
That personal growth, that helped us a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like it did. It sounds like y'all have great communication. What about after 8 years, 9 years now, keeping the spark alive, like having attraction and having your needs met? How frequently you expect sex from each other? What does that look like? Is that an open conversation?
Definitely an open conversation. We believe that what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done, right? So it sounds really weird to be like, hey, we schedule everything. And we're not rigid with our schedule, but we do try to plan things. We have a lot of check-ins. Every 2 weeks, we check in with each other, not just physically, but like also emotionally. Like we ask each other, like basically like how we're doing, how we feel about this, if there's been any changes. And not only is there any changes, but be accepting of those changes. We've changed a bunch throughout the years, like so many times, and we haven't been in sync with our changes. But every single time that we change, our core values have stayed the same and aligned. And to me, I'm not like a huge planner or, stuff like that. To me, it is like how you say, like I just follow my desire, like I follow my passion. And since very early on, in the relationship with Stacey, there had been like weird instances where we ran into each other in like just like random places, that we would have never expected, to run into each other. And that to me was like, I'm not a believer in anything. I have a science background, so to me, it's really hard to be spiritual and believe in something that I can't read a bunch of papers on. But to me, I was like, what is this? Like, I can't believe that I'm pumping gas and she's in the pump next to me. Like, that was like too weird, Like, and this was within what, like the first months of meeting each other. So to me, every time that Stacey's like, hey, I want to run. To me, it's not a question of like, oh, I support you in your running. Like, go on, like, bye, like to me, I'm like, yeah, let's, and I love that she brings that passion of me into me that like, I would have never thought I would be running. And here I am running with you. So
Yeah.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
It's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I feel like since we started getting past that selfish stage, like it gave us room to kind of just explore different things. And we started realizing, because like I said, we were like, we need to be more intentional about the time we're spending together. So we would schedule like date nights or sex, right? Because that's like if it doesn't happen, it's not going to happen organically. And then, we're not going to we go to sleep early sometimes because we run early in the morning. So sometimes when we do go out, it's already like 9 p.m. and we're like yawning and we're like, oh man. And then we're supposed to go home and have sex. That's
unrealistic.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Or maybe we just ate, we just went to date night and it's like, okay, well, now I'm pretty full. I just want to have ice cream and cuddle in bed. So we started having those conversations. She's definitely more of like the physical touch in the relationship. So sometimes it's easy for me to just like forget, right? That those small little just like small touches like means the world for her. Because to me, I can go on like obviously it helps out and it grounds me, but it's really made a difference to just be more intentional about certain things. And I feel like that's also led to, maybe if it doesn't lead to sex, it's led to intimate moments, which sometimes that kind of fills up your bucket, right? For maybe the day or something. So we're still, I guess you can say, figuring things out because we're not the best with our daily schedule. And since we did just move here, the schedule's been changing a bunch.
But we're intentional.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that helps us a bunch. Like that's what matters.
Yeah.
It is what matters. I can tell you care about each other so much. If y'all aren't watching this on YouTube or Spotify, definitely subscribe on YouTube or Spotify so you can see the love that Stacey and Alice have. It's really beautiful. And yeah, I think it might be weird or some people might not be into it, but I 100% agree scheduling sex, especially after you've been in a long-term relationship, is probably necessary because they don't just joke about the lesbian deathbed for or bed death for any reason. Like it's a thing and you have to be intentional, and you end up being such close friends and like having empathy and being tired together, and life is hard and got to keep the spark alive. So I love the intentionality and scheduling date nights. That's one thing that growing up, I would see my parents do, like be intentional with each other, go on vacations together. And that's something that has just carried on to be really important for me. I think some people are freaked out by it. Like they're like, you want to schedule what? And I'm like, no, that means you're important. Like if like it is truly like offensive to my heart if someone's like, no, I don't want to schedule. Like, why do we have to schedule a date night? Like we're dating. And I'm like, okay, then like we're not a good match. Like
That's
that
what you do
doesn't.
at the beginning of any relationship. Like you get to know someone, you're like, hey, can I see you Friday? I mean, you're
Yeah,
scheduling a date night, which is potentially going to lead to sex.
right,
And we go
right.
out with that intention, right? Like we
Like,
shower, like we make sure we smell good, like we make sure we like, like nobody really says like, hey, at 10:31, but you know that you're going to dinner and then after dinner,
Yes.
but
Like you put on the prettier panties. Like you put on your perfume. Yes. It's important. It is so important. How did you know that you were the one? I want to get into the proposal, or if you guys have even gone there, or are you doing a traditional marriage? But how did you first know, okay, this is my person? Because apparently you guys took it slow and evolved into something without even realizing.
yeah, I feel like, yeah, it definitely did take us a bit. Cause like I said, I mean, I knew I didn't want to jump into anything, and I kept thinking that and thinking that, and 2 years down, 4 years down, like time was just going and going and going and going. And I feel like she didn't give me a nudge per se, but we just started having more of these conversations, and I was like, I mean, yeah, like I'm not sure what I'm waiting for. Like nothing's gonna just come in the mail and say, okay, now you are ready to propose. Okay, great. Like, so I feel like this was in what, 2022 when I proposed?
yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew I wanted to do, I don't want to say something huge, but I knew I wanted to do something special, I guess you per se. So we planned a trip for some of her family members to meet some of my family members, and we were all going to go to Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's special.
yeah, so it was super nice. Her dad was there, her brothers were there, nieces were there, my parents were there. It was super,
Nice.
super good, super nice. I even had an uncle. Well, he was a tag along. He wasn't supposed to be there, but point is, he came from Peru. Like it was huge, and we had gone to this beach area in the morning, and like obviously, I'm super nervous that day, so I'm sure she thought something was up, but just our family was just having a good time. Like her dad was playing with my dad's soccer. Like everybody was literally just, it was a perfect day. I didn't plan any of that. That just happened organically. And then that evening, I wasn't even going to have any of our family members there. That was the original. I was like, it's just going to be me and her, and then we're just going to tell them later. But obviously, one thing leads to another, and like typical Hispanic nature, everything's running late. So people were still kind of at the beach when everybody was supposed to be gone. So like this beach club had closed down, like they were getting ready. Like I was trying not to be weird, but the guy that was going to set things up on the beach was there and trying to talk to me. And like, I'm not from Mexico. So they were probably like, why is Stacey going to talk to someone
Like a
when,
stranger,
like
a
a
man.
complete stranger, Stacey the American? Like, sure, she has Spanish backgrounds, but not the Mexicans are going to go do it. They don't know how to do this. Like, and it was a lot of setup. But point is, like, we went on a little walk. We were talking more like, I was just talking to her about like how I was feeling about her and like our future, what I was excited for. And then like when we came back to the area, which the area was where our family was at in the morning. So like it was basically the same setup, except now it had like a marry me sign. And so then I asked her, and then as soon as she said yes, like I just called for everybody and everybody like ran to us. So it was super, super, super special moment. She says she had no idea, but I don't know if I believe her, but I'll take it.
Oh, that was gonna be my next question. I'm like, you didn't know when you're walking and Stacey's telling you all the feelings.
So, I mean, I didn't know because like we were at that moment like pretty visible on Instagram. So we were taking like photos, like and I was like, oh, I was like maybe this is, like just her being like cute, like doing like a date. So I didn't know, but eventually I started to get like fishy because she was like way too sappy. Like she was crying and I'm like, okay, like
Oh,
she would have like like she was crying. So I already had to do that. And so I was like, okay, I was like, this is a bit too much. And she kept telling me like, let's go here, let's go over there. And so I was like, okay, like, but I still didn't expect like up to the moment like where my family and her family like ran out, like I didn't expect it. And to go back to like one of your first questions, like how our family is, like they're definitely in the celebratory state. Even though sometimes we have a little bit of like, like we rub a little bit with our comments and like we don't agree with some politics, don't see eye to eye. But they definitely celebrate us, and I feel really supported by not only like my family but hers, and that is, I mean,
Yeah.
that to me is huge.
it is huge.
Yeah, it's been nice since, like I said, since we moved here. So sometimes because she's now been studying for her board exam, so I've been going out to work and stuff like that. And sometimes when I get home, like she's just talking to my parents, and I'm like, I have to again pinch myself because I'm like, I never thought this like would be my view, and it's not anything special. It's not a special day. It's not a special occasion. It's literally a Tuesday afternoon, and they're literally just sitting there like laughing about, I don't even know what, but it didn't matter because again, it's such an organic but like beautiful moment that if I probably tried to plan it, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
so
definitely
beautiful.
like everybody loves her. Like for a while they had been including her in everything. I mean, my brothers already call her my wife. Like everybody just they have been really, really, really supportive. Like you can genuinely tell that they love her, they love us together. I mean, some of my family members joke and they're like, if you break up with her, like we're just gonna like shake you and be like, no, like she's
Oh,
for you. So it's definitely been very, very, very nice. And like I said, stuff
I'm
that
so
I
happy.
never would have imagined, but like my heart's super happy. Like it's at peace just being with where we're at today and knowing that we have so much time ahead of us still. So I mean, the
Yeah.
possibilities are endless.
You have a lifetime ahead. What does it look like? What's the future? Are you guys planning something special?
Well, we need to
Yeah,
get married
yeah, we need to get
because
married.
we got engaged a few years back, and we have had a huge delay. Totally my fault. But I did want to finish school, which I just graduated last year.
Woo!
I know, actually just received my licensure like this weekend. I passed my exams.
Congratulations.
I know.
She's gonna be a legal drug dealer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
so I'm really excited to work. So that's like, the near
Yeah,
future. She can retire now.
yeah, we joke about it because I was the breadwinner for the longest, and now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to just like chill,
Retire.
just relax.
Put on a bikini.
No, but I feel like we've talked about like projection going forward, and probably for the next 2 years at least, it's just going to be like work and grind mode, save, 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 save. Like we have really big goals. We want to buy each of us a multifamily property every year. So we know that's going to take a bunch, and we're in Florida, so those
Yeah.
odds don't even make sense, but we're going to just figure out a way to make it
I
happen.
believe in you. I believe
Yeah,
in
we're
you.
Thank you.
hustlers.
Thank you. Put it out.
We're hustlers around here too. Queer women rising. Yes. Okay.
But
When
yeah,
you
we
say
definitely want to get
multifamily, do you
married.
mean like for Airbnb, or do you mean for like personal property?
Well,
No.
probably,
Rentals.
yeah, for rentals overall. Just to kind of have that appreciation over time. And then if, whether we keep it or it's a nest egg or whatever the case might be. But I mean, maybe one day Airbnb. But right now it's probably just rentals. We're getting used to kind of like, yeah, long-term rentals.
Love
That's what
it.
we're doing now with the properties that we have in Texas. Like it was easier for us to just rent them, a little bit less headache than kind of Airbnb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because we want to, I know everybody says this, but we really want to retire early. Like we want to travel. We have really big dreams, really big aspirations. And I mean, that's only going to happen if we are intentional about it. So
I get it. I tell everyone all the time, I'm looking for an investor for Queer Country Club because I want to go big and hard, and I do want to retire early eventually. So I totally get it. And I believe in the vision. Every day, it's like, what are you doing today that's going to prepare your future for tomorrow? So sounds like you guys have great heads on your shoulders and a one heart vision. And so doing all this business together, it does it look like going into business partnership because you're not married yet? So like legally you don't share things right now. Is it like, do you guys have it? Like, what does that look like? I'm curious.
I feel like, I mean,
We own our own things.
yeah,
Right.
But with the intention of like always merging, right? Although we've said it since we started dating, when we get married, we will be signing a prenup. And that's
Yeah.
not anything strange to us. That was, I mean, our parents have that same mentality and we're completely cool with that. But, like, I mean, all of her properties in Texas, like, we're not afraid to get down and dirty. Like, we remodeled them ourselves with the help of, like, my mom, like dust, like paint on our hair, like the whole mess. And because we also that's not what we're studied. So we were, testing it out. So every investment that we do, legally our own names are on it, but we're both in on it, like we both put in work.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know if that like answers the question.
no, yeah, I that's a perfect way to put it. Whether since I've been the breadwinner, obviously I've been putting more financially, but she's been putting more, let's say, time and effort into other areas, which are just as needed. So we do consider ourselves equal partners, regardless of whose name on it. But I mean, in the future, before we get married, we want to buy one each just to have it still in our names. And then from there, we'll probably do LLCs at that point. And then we're kind of in charge of it.
I love this. Thank you for being so authentic and honest, because the women inside my lesbian dating platform, the Queer Country Club, a lot of them are looking for their power couple other half. And so these are hard conversations. These are real conversations. Before I get into a relationship with someone or even go on multiple dates, I have someone sign a content contract. Like, this is real life. We are grown-ups and we just got to keep it real. So I love that you're open about this. I'm very big on the prenup. Especially because I date older. I'm attracted to older. I feel most of them are more established than me, although I'm quickly catching up. I feel like they're just way ahead. So it's always been natural to me since I was 26 dating older. I would like always say, yeah, prenup. And especially when I've had partners who are very like quick to talk about marriage, I would say right away, like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like, I want a prenup. You're not going to have to make that like an awkward conversation. And it always like lets down their guard. And I've even had a few older people almost like get offended where they're like, oh, you don't think that we've been married forever? And like at this point, I'm like, well, I'm 32 now and I'm single, so it obviously did not work out, and wouldn't everyone involved have been glad they had their prenup? You guys, on the other hand, it just sounds like you're very fair, stable, and then there's nothing to even ever consider arguing about. It's just everyone protects their peace with the prenup. So yeah, I'm curious if you disagree. Let us know in the comments, because I think that prenups are the best way to make anyone feel secure. And because I do typically date people who are just as driven as me. I think it's a way to put it out there like, hey, like this is so much more than about what I can have from you. Like this is, I bring to the table this, you bring to the table that, and nobody has any questions about it. So I love it.
I think that's a great point of putting it. And and we've talked about it in the sense where, sure, like obviously movies and certain things portray it as like, oh my gosh, you don't love me enough, or you don't think this, but it's like, I do love you enough that I love you enough to be like, I can sign your paper. Like, I love you for you, whether you have $1 to your name or you have $1 million to your name. So
Yeah.
that's just, and to me, by signing, it's showing, hey, look, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
like whatever we have is because we're gonna have it, and
Yeah.
we even talk about it sometimes, and people are like, some of our friends are like, I can't believe you guys just say that. And it's like, one thing that we always remind each other of is, look, even if you feel like cheating, talk to me before you do it. Like, let's just figure out what's up. Like, why are you thinking the grass is greener over there? Like, and try to remind ourselves, because obviously, I mean, there's so many distractions nowadays. There's so many, like, everything's at your fingertip. Things can be as easy as you want it to be. And it's hard. It's harder to stay committed in a monogamous relationship than it is to be single. Sure,
100%.
pros and cons for both.
Yeah.
But we randomly, like I said, just say, hey, if you're not feeling me, let me know, because maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's something I'm doing, I'm not even aware of it.
Yeah.
We've, like she said earlier, like we've changed so much, like our personalities slightly, or but definitely like our aspirations, our style has slightly changed. Like I used to have super long hair, and one day I was like, I want to donate it. I've always wanted to donate my hair. So whenever it grows, I cut it and start messing around with that, so
the
small little
change.
changes, which can, it could rock the boat, definitely,
Yeah.
I think the authenticity is kind of like also what keeps me attracted to her as well. The fact that she's also not trying to just fit in a bubble. And sure, even though, we might have quote unquote types or something like that, this is a perfect example of how there's even variations in that. Like,
There are.
I tell her and I joke with her, but I'm like, even if you wore like a hot dog suit, like I'm still gonna be like, wow. Like she's
Finest looking hot dog suit.
Yeah.
The start.
I love it. That's so cute. Okay, so obviously you guys care about healthcare and advocacy. You just said you donated your hair. It's important to you. Alice, what does this look like in your career now that you just got your certifications, your degrees? What does this look like for you?
I mean, I'm gonna keep climbing to the top. My biggest purpose is to be able to be in a position of power one day within my field to actually make an impact and help people. I'm a pharmacist and I have been working at a pharmacy like in Texas. And as much as I love helping people, sometimes your help feels so small because you're like, I just saved you $10.
It matters to me. I am that bitch that will wait for the good RX coupon because it will be better than my insurance.
Yes.
Yep.
And you should, and to me, there needs to be a bigger change, and the change comes from the top. We can scream until we're blue in the face from down here, but the voices that need to be amplified aren't. And so to us, that has been like the biggest factor. Like when we look at our future, we're not sure if we want kids, but if we can help other kids, that'll be enough sometimes, somehow. And to us, I don't even know what it looks like. In my professional fields, it would probably look like helping my preferred patient population, which would be the LGBTQIA community. But yeah, in the future, hopefully we could deviate from our health careers and into maybe, I don't know, like, I don't even know, any help that's needed, whatever help is needed. Sometimes you learn more about what help you can do by asking the actual people who are affected, hey, what help do you need? And so we want to be able to get to a point where whatever help they need is what we can provide.
And I'm going to brag here because she's downplaying it, but like she's already looking at places to Well, so this one place in particular, here where they do free STD checks. It is for LGBT plus community, but basically I guess it's a pharmacy per se, but it's a lot more just access to certain things that our community doesn't have access to, right? So she
Yeah.
wants to volunteer her time there, instead of basically, using that time to make bank. This is something that she's super passionate about, and even when I met her,
Mm.
she was doing, I mean, lots of different stuff. And I feel like that's also kind of what brought us together. Like when I was working in Texas, I worked with the homeless population. So I saw a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds. Obviously from our alphabet soup, not from our everything in between. And
Yeah.
their story, sometimes it's really just disheartening to hear, where it's like they don't have anybody. They don't have any family members that check on them. They don't have anything. And sometimes something as small as like the groups I would maybe run with them, or I did a lot of recreational activities with them because that's more my job. So like I would take them fishing, we would do like bowling, certain things like that, where again, these simple activities a lot of people don't have access to. They can't go to just Starbucks and get a
Fishing.
coffee. Yeah, they can't just go, small things where you're just like, wow, just allowing people to access things is amazing. Like here, since moving
Yeah.
here, I'm volunteering with this organization that does a lot of stuff for the beach and to make it accessible for people with wheelchairs. So, I mean,
Mm.
just think about pushing a wheelchair in the sand. Nobody wants to do that job. So putting things like there's already an organization doing this, but they go and they make an area for anybody, doesn't matter your ability or disability, you can go there. They have air conditioning, they have the area for you can kind of go on the sand. They have wheelchairs to go on the sand. Like those are the things that matter to us and where we also want to spend our time
Wow.
too.
That's really beautiful. I just thought about that. It would be really sad to know that you wouldn't get to see the ocean because of a disability.
Yeah,
Wow.
something as simple as like your chair on the sand. Like I can't even imagine trying to push myself on the wheelchair on
Yeah.
the sand, let alone her trying to push me. So
Yeah.
stop anybody from going.
That's beautiful. I love the hearts you have for each other and the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having these important conversations, these vulnerable conversations. Do you have a specific place you want to send my audience to learn more about you? Where are those places?
Yeah, you guys can follow us on Instagram at les and then two underscores adventure with an S at the end. And I mean, we just post about our lives there. But more importantly, we love chatting with people from our community. Like I said, I came from a really small town where I was one of the few gays. And so to me, like connecting with people, even like outside of the United States, people from my home country in Mexico, like that has been like, I mean, like a huge gift to us. So
Mm.
if you guys ever want to chat, ask us random questions, talk
Hmm.
about prenups or anything crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna,
we can all share our toxic moments too.
yeah, we can all
Have a laugh on
toxic
that.
dump.
I honestly, like, that was really big for me here because I've always felt like in a relationship, once you cross that line, maybe you'll never be able to come back. And sometimes people are worth coming back for, and only you know that. And apparently, it's worked out for you guys, and that's really, really beautiful. And I'm sure it's going to give someone hope. So if you're that person, DM them. That's les double underscores travel. Is it go travel or just travel? Travel, right?
It's so
Les,
Les two underscores adventures.
Oh, adventures. Sorry. The words mix up, but it's going to be in the show notes. I'm going to have it linked for you guys right in the show notes. I'm really, really grateful for this conversation. If you're listening to this and you are a single lesbian who is looking for a long-term partner, I mentioned it before, but I can't end the episode without plugging the Queer Country Club, my lesbian dating platform where I help monogamous women connect and fall in love. It's different than anything out there. It's swipeless. We have live virtual events. We have retreats that you get access to, luxury retreats, and AI matchmaking inside of the platform. It is so different than a regular dating app. The women inside are cream of the crop. You will find women who are looking for their purpose couple, like these two have this grander purpose, this mutual purpose that they share. You may even find your power couple other half. The women inside are accomplished, creative, caring, and working on themselves. So if that's the kind of partner you're looking for, go ahead and go to queercountryclub.com or DM me, Queer Country Club, and I'll get you an application, because yes, it's application based. We're all about quality over quantity. We want to make sure that the women inside are growth minded and monogamous. So hope to see you inside at queercountryclub.com. Thank you so much, Stacey and Alice. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for sharing your relationship with my world.
We appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.